Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
So what about the Conservatives? Their local election campaign has been relatively low-key these past few weeks, with the small matter of an EU referendum campaign taking up most of their time and energy. So how's it looking? You could say with Labour in the spotlight, the pressure's off the Conservatives in the English local elections. These set of seats were last up for grabs in 2012, when George Osborne's so-called omni-shambles budget had hit the headlines, and the Tories slumped to winning only 884 seats compared to Labour's 1,335. However, UKIP are targeting Conservative seats, and significant losses to Mr Farage's party could be a sign the referendum campaign isn't going well for David Cameron. What's more, there's been a lot of friendly fire in the last few months, with councillors across the country criticising government policy on a range of issues, including turning all schools into academies, more directly elected mayors, and reductions in the grants from central government. It's not just the EU that the Conservative Party is falling out over. And the Conservatives' local government minister, Brandon Lewis, joins me now from Chelmsford in Essex. Let me go straight to this business of forced academies in England. Melinda Tilley, Tory cabinet member for education for Oxfordshire County Council. She says, I suppose I'm going to have to suck it up, but I think they've gone bonkers. Why have you gone bonkers?
Well, we haven't. And actually, I've got to say, from my own experience, if I look at what I've seen in East Anglia and Great Yarmouth, my constituency, the academies have transformed the educational offer for pupils, both in secondary and primary education. So I think it's a really good step forward. It's about making those schools autonomous, giving them independence. And I do understand councillors who have been involved in education want to continue to be involved in education. We've got to do what is right for the pupils to make sure we're getting that improvement in educational standards.
But she's not against academies. She's against you forcing every school to be an academy in England. And plenty of other senior Tories in local government share her concerns. I've got a list of them here. Why don't you listen to your own people?
Well, we are listening to people. Actually, what we're saying as well, you have a two-way conversation when you're looking at bringing new things forward. And what we've learned from academies is they have the ability to improve education. As I've said, I've seen this firsthand myself with vast improvements in the offer, the ability and the education for pupils. We in government have got to put the pupils first. This is about making sure that young people today are getting the best education, so have the best life chances to move forward and benefit from economics, growth and opportunities and jobs.
They just don't
in the
like
future,
being
to have
forced.
that security. And that's... Well, this is about making sure we do what is right for the pupils and to make sure they're getting the best education. And we believe that putting the schools directly in control of their destiny is the best way to make pupils have the best opportunity.
To whom are academies accountable?
Sorry, Andrew, I didn't hear that.
To whom are academies accountable?
Well, academies were showing right across the country, actually. They're having that independence and that knowledge. The experts, the TED teachers, the teachers who run those schools, who know what the children need best in their local area, very local to those schools.
But to whom are they accountable?
Great results and actually able to react to what is happening locally.
I didn't ask you about the results. I asked you, to whom are they accountable?
Well, they're accountable because Ofsted will judge schools, and actually Ofsted goes in, checks schools, looks at schools, gives them a review of what a school's position is, and if the school needs to improve, Ofsted is very clear about it. It's very public, it's very transparent, and there's no secret to that, and it's very well covered in the press, both local and national, when schools have a challenge. And it's right that schools
no
should
local
be open
accountability.
to that kind of transparency, to be clear.
No local accountability.
But it is very much local
just
accountability.
A national
it makes it
quango.
very clear. I've never seen a school, Andrew, that's had a bad Ofsted report be able to keep that secret. It's very much a public thing, and therefore there is a clear responsibility for the people in that school to move things forward, to improve things, and again coming back to looking at what is right for the pupils.
But you don't even want now to have parent governors. So how, even when you get a bad Ofsted report, how do the parents then hold that school accountable if under the bill, the white paper that you've proposed, there shouldn't be parent governors?
Actually, there can be parent governors, and what it's saying is there doesn't have to be. So actually, there can be parent governors. I've seen academies in my own constituency as well as elsewhere where parent governors are contributing very importantly. But key to this is making sure the school itself with the head teachers and the teachers themselves, who know best about what their pupils need in order to move their education forward, have the opportunity to do that. And that's what's right for pupils. And ultimately, this is about looking at what is right and what is best for pupils to get the best possible education, the best start in life.
Well, let's look at local government spending now. You've slashed grants to local government over the years. Paul Carter, he's Conservative leader of Kent Council. He chairs the County Council's network. He says now, and I quote him, "The tank is now an empty, and we really are, to use another analogy, scraping the barrel." Councils, even Tory councillors, are saying under your government, they're now scraping the barrel.
Well, local government accounts for about 25% of all public expenditure. So we've never been shy about being very clear. It's got to play its part in dealing with debt and deficit. And actually, over this Parliament, we're going to see local government in a very strong position. And what local government can do, and is doing across the country, whether you look at Oxfordshire, the Midlands, the North, East Anglia, is councils making sure that they are being very efficient, whether it's sharing management, sharing chief executives to deliver really good frontline services. Why Conservative councils are on average about £80 cheaper than their equivalent Labour and over £100 cheaper than Liberal Democrat equivalents, showing really good efficiencies to deliver good quality frontline services. And at the same time, and Paul's an excellent leader, but let me be very clear about something for local government. While they're making these points, we also have to bear in mind that over the last few years, local government surpluses, its reserves, has gone up from around 13 to over £22 billion. Now, that's a testament to the efficiencies that local government's been shown, but it also means that there is capacity there to keep going further. But also bearing in mind that the grant from central government is just a small part of the finance the local government has, where the core of its finance comes from council tax, business rates and indeed new homes bonus.
So why does the Tory leader of Oxfordshire County, which covers the Prime Minister's constituency, why does he now say that the cuts, and I quote him, would have a real impact, or having a real impact on people and communities? These are Conservatives saying this.
Well, we've got to live within our means. We have to make those difficult decisions. And
well,
what we're seeing
Tories,
is Conservative councils actually deliver the best decisions to deliver that. We're seeing those efficiencies. Councils like that, as I say, are about £80 a year cheaper than their Labour equivalent, over £100 a year cheaper than the Liberal Democrat equivalent. And all local authorities, actually, particularly the district councils, those smaller local authorities, should be looking, as Great Yarmouth is doing in North Norfolk, how they can share chief executives to make sure that the efficiencies they're finding are being able to deliver good frontline services, saving those efficiencies in management costs. Dozens of councils, good Conservative councils across the country, from Oxfordshire through to High Peak and Staffordshire Moorlands, East Anglia and the Midlands are doing this. And we can see more of that. There's more opportunity for that. That doesn't just deliver efficiencies, it delivers even better frontline services.
When you've been making these funding cuts, why have they disproportionately fallen on Labour areas, which tend to be poorer, and not Conservative areas, which tend to be richer? Why have you hit the poorer parts of this country with your cuts?
Well, with the best respect, Andrew, I think the framing of that is actually slightly misleading. Let's just get to the core of what's going on. Actually, one of the worst hit councils in the country for many years has been my own in Great Yarmouth. And the reason for that is actually goes back historically. Before they left power, Labour cut the Working Neighbourhoods Fund. And that dramatically hit some of those councils that have the poorest backgrounds. But equally, those are the very same authorities that have the highest spending power. So those Labour authorities in those areas have more to spend per household than the equivalent Conservative authorities. Actually, my own has one of the highest in East Anglia. Liverpool, for example, and Andrew, actually, Labour-led councils like Liverpool, even if they just collected the council tax, the level of the average council would be £500 per house, roughly, better off. So we need to make sure these efficiencies are there. Conservative-led councils do that better.
Minister, the average cut per household in a Tory area is calculated to be £68 per person per household by the end of this Parliament. For Labour councils per household, it's £340. You're picking on the poorer parts of this country.
But we also have to bear in mind that their spending power in the first place is much, much higher.
Because they had more they needed to spend it on.
And that's why their spending power can be up to £1,500 more in some places than the equivalent smaller Conservative district area. But they do still have the highest spending power per household. It's also why, in the financial settlement this year, extra money, extra £300 million was put in for those transitional works. Because, of course, as we get towards the end of this Parliament, the change we made particularly to put more money in with a focus on adult social care, those authorities start to actually get more money coming through again as well.
Brandon Lewis, thanks for joining us from Chelmsford.
I've been